What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into my Week 9 NFL predictions. It's crazy that we're this far into the season, man. It's been a wild season, been a fun ride. Anyway, let's get into what I got right and what I got wrong from Week 8. Starting with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, I did predict the Bucs to pull off an upset, just couldn't quite get the job done there. Now Shaq Barrett's out for the season, and Rashid Bateman for the Ravens is out for the season. Two big injuries for both those teams. I did pick the upset here, Denver Broncos. I did think were the better team over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they got the win there. I did pick the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Carolina Panthers, and the Falcons won that one. Picked the Cowboys to beat the Chicago Bears. Got that one right. Did pick the Patriots to pull off the upset over the New York Jets. Got that one right as well. So I'm really on a win streak here, as you can see. I did pick the Eagles to pull off the win over the Steelers. Got that one right. Did pick the Dolphins to beat the Lions, though they barely survived in that one. Just barely. Right here, I picked the Vikings the Cardinals to upset Minnesota. And I did get that one wrong. So that was my second one. Now we're getting to a little bit of a losing streak here. I did pick the Raiders to pull off the win over the Saints, and that was an absolutely embarrassing performance for Las Vegas. I did pick the Houston Texans to beat the Tennessee Titans after originally I picked Tennessee to win this one, but then when I saw Malik Willis was playing, I was actually thinking, this is an upset candidate, and I went and I pulled the trigger on the Texans. Obviously, it wasn't enough. Texans really played a bad game. Don't let that score deceive you. Tennessee was all over Houston in that one. Did pick the Colts to beat Washington, but just barely lost that one. The Commanders pulled off the upset. Did pick the Niners to beat the Rams. Got that one right. I did pick the Seahawks to pull off the upset over New York. I also got that one right. Did pick the Bills to beat the Green Bay Packers. Got that one right. And I did pick the Bengals to beat the Browns, but the Browns just absolutely demolished Cincinnati on Monday night. So ultimately, I do believe that is 9-6. Let's just count up. Let's just count my wins. 1. Yeah, 9-6. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to do a little bit math there. 9-6, not great. I finished my record right now is 78-44. So I am almost doubling the wins to loss ratio. Not quite. I'd still need 10 more wins to do that, but it's close, man. I could get there soon. Shockingly, I wasn't expecting to do this good entering into the year, but I'll take it, man. All right, let's get into this performance. This game that is on Prime Video. Houston Texans take on the Philadelphia Eagles, arguably the worst team, battling it out against the best team in the league. Best record-wise, the second worst record-wise team. Yeah, I don't really see this one being close on Thursday night. Philadelphia's really been able to take care of their business against these bad teams, and I think that it's not going to change here against Houston, especially with all the additions that Philadelphia's added from the trade deadline. They are looking scary. Moving on down here, we're going to have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Interesting matchup here. Chargers are coming off their bye week. Tough team to predict here. Very inconsistent unit here, and I would almost say the same about the Atlanta Falcons. It's just two teams that are hard to predict. Now, with this game being in Atlanta, I do think the Falcons have a shot to win this one. Arthur Smith in this offense, I think, is going to have some success against a struggling Chargers defense. I am going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers. They're coming off their bye week. I do think that the better team in this one, and I think that's going to be enough to pull off the win, but I could see this one going either way. Let's move on down here. We're going to have the Miami Dolphins traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Bears, their offense has looked very, very good, and the team Justin Fields. I mean, over the past 2 weeks, has played much better football. They added Chase Claypool. Not sure how much of a difference he's going to make for Chicago. Probably not too much. But yeah, I like the Bears. Um, I think the Bears are a competitive football team, but this defense, I think we saw it last week against the Cowboys, just struggled. They're a solid coached unit on that side of the ball, but just clearly lack talent. I think it's going to catch up to them in this game. The Dolphins and Tua is going to throw all over them. And I don't think that the Bears offense is going to be able to do really anything, will do too much against this very solid Miami defense, especially adding Chubb into there. Yeah, so this is just a mismatch, I think, for the Bears in this one. Let's move on down here. We're going to have the Carolina Panthers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals are a 4-4 team right now, so they're looking good. Actually, not. They're not looking good. They were looking good 2 weeks ago. Not this week, though. Just absolutely got demolished by the Browns. Just were out-physicaled in that game. This is a must-win game, I would say, for both these teams. Jamar Chase is out for this one. Could this be an upset alert? PJ Walker's looked pretty impressive. He's playing up against not a great Bengals defense, just a mediocre unit. I think that PJ Walker is going to be able to move this football down the field. This defense for the Carolina Panthers, this is an intriguing matchup, guys. I am leaning towards an upset here for some reason. Ultimately, I am going to pick the Bengals, I think, because I trust Joe Burrow more than PJ Walker. And this Panthers defense has just been so inconsistent. But I could very much see the Panthers walking away with a win here. Watch out for that one, guys. That could be an upset. Let's move on down here. Another must-win game for both of these teams, I would say. The Green Bay Packers at 3-5, taking on the Detroit Lions, who are at 1-6. Lions season not looking good at this point. They just traded away TJ Hawkinson, so it might be tank mode for a top pick in this next upcoming draft for the quarterback of their future for Detroit. Meanwhile, for Green Bay, just very frustrating. They looked a lot better in this last game. It's a bounce back week for Green Bay. They've had about 3 of these in a row. Going back to the Giants, I said that was a bounce back game. I said the Jets were the bounce back game. Then I said the Commanders were. Now they get to play the Lions. And the Lions defense, it is played in Detroit, so that might have a factor. But the Lions defense sucks. I think Aaron and these receivers for the Packers were able to move the football quite well. They ran the football a lot against the Bills, so I think the Packers are going to have a much better game than we were used to seeing from their 3 weeks prior to that Bills matchup. And I just think Green Bay is going to win this one. Detroit Lions, though, I think that this Packers defense has been up and down. I think the Lions might compete in this one with DeAndre Swift and this team, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I'm going to take Green Bay in that one. Let's move on down here. We're going to have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to New England to take on the Patriots. Patriots in this one, New England. You really like to see some good football being played there from New England from their previous week. Just took care of business against the Jets. They play a bad foe here in Indy, which are not looking good really at all. I think Bill Belichick's going to have a good game plan for this one, and I don't really see the Colts pulling off the upset there. So I'm going to take the Patriots. Let's move on down here. We're going to have the New York Jets hosting the Buffalo Bills. The Jets haven't looked great the past 2 weeks with Zach Wilson having some struggles. The Bills continue to dominate the NFL right now at 6-1. This one is going to be probably a rough showing from Zach Wilson. He hasn't looked good the past 2 weeks. And playing one of the best defenses, arguably the best defense in the league here in Buffalo. It's going to be tough. And the New York Jets defense is pretty solid, but I just don't think it's going to be enough for them to win this one. I'm going to go Buffalo Bills. And with the lack of run game with Breece Hall being out, I think the New York Jets offense continues their struggles as they lose their 4th game of the season. Let's move on down here. We're going to have the Washington Commanders hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings just continue to find ways to win, guys. It's really surprising the way the Minnesota Vikings have been playing lately. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, he's just playing like a good quarterback, better than average Kirk. They have a lot of explosive weapons. The defense has been surprisingly better than I thought, although it's still not a great unit. For the Commanders in this one, I do think that their defense, they've stepped it up the past few weeks, but haven't gone against some good foes there. And we're gonna see the true test for the Commanders defense here. I think the Vikings are gonna shred apart this defense in Washington, and Taylor Heineke's not gonna have enough in this one, I think, to win this one. I'm gonna go with the Vikings here in this one to beat the Commanders. All right, must-win game, I guess, for both these teams. These two teams' season might be already over here. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in this game. Man, both these teams have very much been struggling. We've seen flashes from both these teams throughout the year, but it's just been weird. The Raiders coming off a shutout performance by their offense, just couldn't score once. And the Jaguars just a disappointing loss to the Broncos last week. Yeah, this one's might be a very boring and slugfest game with these offenses are playing. I do think this is with the Raiders offense. They have enough weapons, I think, for them to be able to pick apart this Jaguars defense. And the Jaguars offense, they have enough weapons to pick apart this Raiders defense, it seems. So I'm just going to trust Derek Carr a little bit more than I do Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has struggled right now, but both of those quarterbacks have not been playing well. This one could be a snooze fest, but I'm going to take the Raiders. If they lose that game, this season might be over for Las Vegas. All right, let's move on down here. We're going to have the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Interesting game here. The Cardinals need to win this game. This is a must-win game, and they're playing a very good football team here in Seattle that beat them a couple weeks ago. Geno Smith and, this team. Geno Smith got Offensive Player of the Month in the NFC, and then the Seahawks got Kenneth Walker, Offensive Rookie of the Month, and Tariq Woolen, Defensive Player of the Month, or Rookie of the Month. So it's very impressive down there in Seattle. They're racking up some awards. This is a legit team, guys, in Seattle. The Cardinals, they need to win this one. Their offense has looked a lot better with DeAndre Hopkins coming in. They just played the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago. I think that they're going to make adjustments. I think this is going to be a closer football game. Kyler Murray's got to get some things going, but this Seahawks defense has looked even better over the last few weeks. I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I just think that they're the better team, and I don't think this Cardinals team is well coached enough to bounce back from what we've seen them do against this team a few weeks ago. So I think the Seahawks win this one, and that's basically going to end the Cardinals' route to basically win the division. All right, let's go down here. We're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Wow. Another must-win game for both these teams. Two teams that played in the playoffs last year looked like it was a very fun matchup. Stafford was barely able to hold on against the Bucs, and now these teams do not look good this year. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense has got to get some things going. Luckily, they're going up against a Rams defense who's underperforming. Meanwhile, for the Rams, their O-line sucks. Stafford's struggling right now, and they got to get some things going. But luckily, they're just like on the other side, they're playing a underachieving Buccaneers defense that now Shaq Barrett is out for the season. So it's tough to predict this one, man. I really do not know what's going to happen in this one. I am going to take Tampa Bay. in this one because I trust that O-line and I trust those weapons for the Buccaneers a little bit more. But, man, I don't know. I just think that the Bucs have a little bit more talent here. I'm just going to take the Bucs in this one. It's just a tough matchup, and they're at home. You just really do not know what to go with in this game. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay. Just a little bit of a coin flip win there. All right, we got an interesting Sunday night football game. The Chiefs host the Tennessee Titans. All right, wow. So the Titans, have they played like a marquee opponent since the Buffalo Bills, where they lost that game? Let's check up on this team. Yeah, the Titans have not played very good of foes since the Bills game. So this is going to be a test to see what the Titans are made out of, playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs, obviously one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Patrick Mahomes has been playing lights out from his last game against the Niners a couple of weeks back. I do like this Chiefs unit here. Their defense has played much better than I anticipated. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Titans, I just do not know. They're a good, well-coached football team, but just the lack of talent is there. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one, but I could see the Titans coming away, being competitive, and maybe getting a few bounces that went their way to pull off an upset. But I'm just going to have to go with the Chiefs there. All right, let's round out this week on honestly an exciting Monday night game here, I think. The Baltimore Ravens travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Must-win game for the Saints here if they want to keep their season alive, or at least afloat. If you think about the Saints, this offense, Andy Dalton has actually done a decent enough job with this team. I think that he's going to keep this team going in this game against the Ravens. The Ravens have been a struggling football team, just an inconsistent unit, but they did get Roquan Smith. Rashid Bateman's out for the year. Honestly, guys, I'm going to go with an upset here. I think the Saints defense is going to, that we saw step up for them against the Raiders. I think that they can continue that against this Ravens team without Rashid Bateman. And the Ravens have had a lot of close games, but now they have to travel to New Orleans on a Monday night game without Rashid Bateman. If he was in for this game and did not get injured, I would take the Ravens, but I think he's a big part of this offense. I think you're going to start to see some struggles there. So I'm going to take the Saints. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your Week 9 NFL predictions. Anyway, peace out.